opening weekends get larger and larger, both due to inflation and the ability to meet more upfront demand. You're going to see more and more scenarios where a movie nosedives in its second weekend a once unthinkable amount yet still qualifies as a win. Walt Disney's Avengers: Infinity War opened with $257.698 million in its debut weekend and fell an okay 56.4% in weekend 2. But that translated into, as of this writing, a $112.474 million weekend, a drop of $145.224 million between its first and its second weekend of domestic release. That's barely above the $148.444 million drop for Star Wars: The Last Jedi, $220 million, $71.56 million, which set everyone on edge last December. So, Infinity War has earned the second biggest drop, in raw numbers, for a movie between its first and second weekend. It's also the 10th member of the once notable $100 Million Losers Club. For those not following along, membership into the $100 Million Losers Club occurs when a film drops by more than $100 million between its first and second weekend of domestic release. And as of yesterday, there are now 10 members of said club, counting Summit Entertainment's Twilight Saga: New Moon, which dropped $99.97 million from its $142.84 million debut weekend to a $42.87 million second weekend over Thanksgiving 2009. Now there are two different kinds of membership, and thus two takeaways. When Warner Bros. Time Warner Inc.'s Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 fell a then-record $121 million after its then-record $169 million debut weekend, it was a clear sign, along with the awful 1.85x weekend multiplier, that the final chapter of the Harry Potter saga was playing huge with the fans but attracting few casual audiences. As big a hit as it was, the $149 million plunge that The Last Jedi took was only partially about the whole Christmas on a Monday thing. That $99.9 million second weekend drop for New Moon, over Thanksgiving weekend no less, showed that the franchise was a strictly for fans movie, as was Batman v Superman, $166 million, $51.3 million equals $114.7 million, just over 2 years ago. But there is a second category of big movie, one that takes a seemingly massive second weekend dive but still turns out to be one of the bigger grossing films in an adjusted domestic box office. Sure, Captain America, Civil War, Universal, Comcast Corp's Jurassic World, Iron Man 3 and the Avengers fell around $102 million, $106 million in their second weekends, but they still topped $400 million, or $600 million, and qualified as big hits. And while Age of Ultron took a nasty $114.1 million plunge, $191.3 million, $77.2 million, it A. still earned $459 million domestic and B. was likely impacted by WB's Mad Max: Fury Road and Universal's Pitch Perfect 2 opening on its third weekend, which was much harsher competition than Avengers, dealing with WB's Dark Shadows and Universal's Battleship. One of the more impressive stats of Star Wars: The Force Awakens' record-breaking run was that it barely missed this milestone, falling $98.7 million, $247.9 million, $149.2 million in its second weekend. Although, to be fair, it did have Christmas Day falling on its second Friday. While Suicide Squad fell a whopping 67% in weekend 2 and fell $90 million between weekends, $133.6 million, $43.6 million equals $90 million, it stuck around for the rest of the summer and turned out to be leggier than Captain America: Civil War and still crossed $325 million domestic. So, if we just look at the 10 members of the club, what kind of legs can Avengers: Infinity War expect to have from this point onward? The leggiest such release is Star Wars: The Last Jedi, 1.68x its 10-day total, followed by The Avengers 1.67x and Jurassic World 1.62x. Next, we have Avengers: Age of Ultron, 1.46x, Iron Man 3, 1.43x, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, 1.39x, Captain America: Civil War, 1.38x, The Twilight Saga: New Moon, 1.28x, and Batman v Superman, 1.27x. I am amused by how front-loaded those hero versus hero sequels were, even with polar opposite receptions. I think we can rule out The Last Jedi, no holiday bumps, and both New Moon and Batman v Superman, general audiences like Avengers: Infinity War, but the rest of the comparisons may be fair game. Let's put Avengers, which would give Infinity War a whopping $753 million domestic total, and Jurassic World $730 million into the unlikely, but possible, category for now. Infinity War obviously doesn't have summer weekdays, but it has an extra week with no competition, and the buzz around Infinity War is solid. If we're being realistic, we're looking at a multiplier of between Civil War, $622 million, and Age of Ultron, $659 million, or just above Titanic, $658 million, and Jurassic World, $652 million. Averaging out those four, Age of Ultron, Harry Potter 7.2, Iron Man 3 and Civil War, out gets you 1.41x, which gives Infinity War $639 million domestic. That sounds plausible, all things considered. The variables remain that extra week of no competition and whether Deadpool 2 will play so old then Infinity War will still get the kids until Solo. But we now have enough movies that dropped over $100 million in their second weekend to have math to play with, which says something about the front-loaded nature of movie-going. And when you look at the multipliers after the second weekend, you'll notice that Age of Ultron wasn't exactly loathed by audiences, while Captain America: Civil War wasn't embraced as the MCU savior it was described as upon release. And is still possible, in terms of legs, that Infinity War will just be another big MCU summer kickoff offering.